Waking to the smell of Rome's streets. Have you ever wondered what it was like to wake in the city of Rome, not in a villa with marble floors, but in a cramped apartment above a noisy street? The great city is remembered in statues and stone, but most mornings began with the scrape of shutters, the smell of bread, and the calls of vendors. Before we begin, pause, dim your lights if you have not already. Adjust your pillow, as though it were a straw mattress in an insula. Let your breathing slow steady as footsteps on a stone street. This story will take its time, and if you drift away before the bread is broken, Rome will wait patiently. The first breath of the day. You wake to the sound of a cart rolling across cobblestones, the wheels groaning with weight, the wooden shutters rattle, the hinges creak. Through a crack you see faint light, a pale Roman door. The air smells heavy, coal smoke clinging from the night. Bread baking in the bakery below, fish from yesterday still lingering in the gutter. It is not unpleasant, not sweet, but thick, alive with the city's breath. Your blanket scratches at your skin, wool coarse, patched many times. The mattress rustles, straw uneven, poking through the cover. From the floor below rises a hum. The baker's already working. The myth of Roman luxury. Later poets wrote of Rome as a city of banquets, tables groaning with peacocks, oysters, and wine. The myth is of endless feasts. The reality is plainer. For most, street food stalls, simple bread, stews ladled from clay jars. Records suggest 9 out of 10 Romans lived in insulae, crowded apartments with no kitchens. The myth comforts imagination. The reality smells of smoke and frying oil. The bakery below. From below comes the sound of wooden paddles scraping ovens. Men shout faintly, moving baskets. The smell of fresh bread rises warm, yeasty, filling the stairwell. You dress slowly, cloth rough against your skin. The stairs creak as you descend, joining neighbors already in the street. Fortunata the lucky one. Near the doorway stands Fortunata, the baker's daughter. She hums as she sweeps flour from the threshold, declaring each sweep draws fortune into the house. She is known for superstition, finding omens in figs, coins and cracks in loaves. Today she holds a fig in her palm, whispering that it will bring luck to the ovens. Marcus the rat catcher. Across the lane, Marcus taps at a barrel with his stick. He claims rats are plotting again, scurrying beneath counters before dawn. He is known as rat catcher, though more for muttering than catching. He insists vermin outnumber citizens, and that every loaf has already been sniffed by whiskers. Step by step, buying bread. You join the short line at the bakery stall, hold your coin tightly, edges worn thin, wait as neighbors shuffle, voices low, watch the baker's paddle pull loaves from the oven, crusts crack, smell the steam rising as he breaks one open, crumbs soft and hot, place coin on the counter, take loaf warm in your hands. The bread burns your palms slightly, but you hold it close, savoring its weight. A mild dilemma. Fortunata offers to trade a fig for part of your loaf, insisting figs bring fortune. Marcus mutters that figs spoil quickly, better to keep bread. You hesitate, then break a small piece, handing it to her. Her smile widens as though you shared a blessing, not just bread. The smell of the street. Now the street itself stirs. Oil sizzling at a pan, sharp and smoky. Wine spilled from last night, sour in the gutter. Fish being gutted at a stall, brine heavy and pungent. Incense rising faintly from a shrine at the corner. Rome smells of cooking and decay, devotion and survival, all at once. The myth of silence. Some imagine mornings calm, like painted courtyards. The myth is of stillness. The reality is clamor. Vendors calling, wheels creaking, roosters crowing, children shout. One inscription from Pompeii even complained of the din of the street. The myth comforts quiet. The reality rattles shutters, step by step, eating bread with cheese. You pause at a stall, where cheese is sold, hand over a small coin, receive a wedge wrapped in cloth. Tear loaf in half, steam rising, place cheese inside, crumbs softening, press together, warm bread melting edge. Eat slowly, crust crunching, filling your mouth with salt and heat. It is plain but enough to begin the day. Fortunata's fig. Fortunata bites into her fig, juice running down her hand. She declares the day blessed. She hums again, her voice weaving between the shouts of vendors. Marcus's grumble. Marcus points at the gutter, where whiskers twitch. He mutters that rats eat better than men, finding figs, bread and cheese before dawn. He scowls, tapping his stick, as though the sound alone will drive them away. Rules of the morning market. Every street seems to follow its own codes. Bread sold hot, eaten quickly. Cheese wrapped in cloth, never bare. Figs traded like charms, Rats blamed for every missing crumb. Fortune belongs to Fortunata, suspicion to Marcus. The rules hold the morning in rhythm. You could break your loaf, sharing a piece, or you could keep it, stomach already growling. You hand him a crust. His smile is silent but steady. The sound of the street. The morning grows louder. Pots clatter at the thermopolium. Ladles striking clay jar. Wine sellers call prices. Voices sharp. Donkeys bray. Hooves striking stone. Children laugh, running between stalls. The street hums not as chaos, but as rhythm. The myth of banquets for all. Later imagination made Rome a city of banquets, with every citizen feasting. The myth is of equality at tables. The reality is plainer. Feasts for the rich, bread for the many, stew for those with coin. Records from satirists remind us of sausages too thin, wine too sour, bread too dry. The myth comforts empire. The reality chews bread. Evening approaches. As the day lengthens, the smells grow heavier. Bread hardens, figs bruise, wine warms in the sun. But the rhythm of buying, eating, sharing continues, steady as footsteps. The soft cadence, the shutters creak, the bread cracks, the figs split, and you, chewing slowly, feel Rome settle around you. The smoke lingers, the street hums, and you drift gently into rest. Bread and olives, the Roman breakfast. Have you ever wondered what Romans ate to begin their day? Not the feasts of marble halls, not the grand banquets of emperors, but the simple meals of the street. Bread dipped in oil, olives eaten from clay bowls, cheese cut in rough wedges. Before you begin, pause, breathe gently, exhale slowly. If you are lying in bed, imagine yourself leaning against a stone wall, a small loaf in your hand, olives glistening in a wooden bowl. This chapter will move as slowly as morning shadows creeping across tiled roofs. And if you close your eyes before the olives are eaten, they will wait patiently on the plate. Morning hunger. The street is brighter now, shutters open, voices louder. You hold the bread you bought earlier, its crust already hardening. Your stomach growls, steady as a drumbeat. Vendors have set up their stalls, small tables covered with cloth, bowls of olives shining with oil, cheeses resting on wooden boards. The air smells of salt, brine, smoke and warm bread. The myth of Roman breakfasts. Later writers imagine Romans feasting even in the morning, with eggs, fruits and meats. The myth is of abundance. The reality is plainer. Most Romans ate little at dawn. Bread, olives, sometimes cheese, always simple. Historians note that the word agentaculum meant a snack, not a feast. The myth comforts appetite. The reality is a small crust dipped in oil. Fortunata's ritual. Fortunata stands at her family's stall, arranging bowls of olive. She sprinkles salt over them, whispering that each grain doubles luck. She offers a fig to passing children, pressing it into their hands as a charm. Her humming blends with the calls of vendors. Marcus the rat catcher's complaint. Marcus squats near a crate, tapping his stick on the ground. He mutters that rats adore olives more than men, chewing pits and licking oil. He scowls at a vendor's stall, declaring the brine jars already invade. Neighbors sigh, used to his suspicion, but still glance uneasily. Step by step, preparing olive paste. A woman demonstrates how to prepare a simple spread. Place a handful of black olives on a wooden board, crush them gently with a stone, oil seeping out. Mix with garlic, herbs and a drizzle of vinegar. Spread on bread, crust softening under the oil. Eat slowly, flavor sharp, salt lingering. The paste transforms plain bread into something rich. A mild dilemma. A neighbor offers you a choice: fresh green olives, bitter but crisp, or black olives, soft but salty. You hesitate, stomach growling. You take the black ones, their oil staining your fingers. Fortunata nods approvingly, calling it the lucky choice. The smell of breakfast. The air thickens with scents. Bread toasting at a small brazier, edges smoking faintly, cheese sweating in the sun, sharp and sour, wine diluted with water, herbs floating in clay cups, olives brined in salt, pungent and earthy. Rome smells like hunger satisfied in fragments, not feasts. The myth of wine at dawn. Some believe Romans drank heavily from sunrise. The myth is of constant indulgence. The reality is subtler. Wine always diluted, sometimes flavored with herbs, always weaker than imagined. Records warn against drinking it unmixed, calling it barbaric. The myth comforts drama. The reality waters every cup, step by step, mixing a morning cup. At a popina you watch the vendor prepare. Pour wine from an amphora, deep red, add water, 2 parts for every one of wine. Drop in a sprig of rosemary, herbs floating, swirl with a wooden ladle, surface glistening, hand clay cup to customer, steam faint from warmth. The cup smells of herbs, sharp and calming. Fortunata's fortune. Fortunata raises her fig again, declaring figs sweeten any cup. She dips a piece into wine, chewing happily. Her smile is bright, even as others frown at her superstition. Marcus is warning. Marcus points at the amphora, muttering that rats drown in wine vats more often than men drink from them. He taps his stick, insisting he once fished whiskers from a barrel. The vendor groans, but pours cups steadily. Rules of breakfast. The morning stalls follow quiet customs. Bread eaten first, always dipped in oil. Cheese sliced thin, never olives chosen carefully, green for sharpness, black for salt. Wine always watered, never pure. Fortunata trusts figs, Marcus distrusts barrels. The rules steady the street like footsteps on stone. A mild dilemma. A boy at the stall drops his olive into the gutter. You could give him one from your bowl, or you could eat in silence, hunger guiding you. You hand him one, his grin wide, oil shining on his face. The sound of the street. The voices rise with the sun. Vendors call prices, coins clink, cups tap against counter. Dogs bark, chasing scraps. Children laugh, spitting pits into the gutter. The city hums, busy yet ordinary. The myth of banquet foods. Some imagine dormice, peacocks and oysters common. The myth is of exotic dishes. The reality is simpler. Bread, olives, beans, porridge. Archaeology of sewers shows seeds, pits and bones of the humble, not the grand. The myth comforts imagination. The reality fills bowls with olives. Toward midday, your bread is finished. Olive pits spat into the gutter. Your stomach feels steady, though not heavy. The street prepares for larger meals ahead. Fires stoked, pots set, but breakfast is finished. Simple, salt and bread. The soft cadence. The bread hardens. The olives glisten. The cup empties, and you, chewing slowly, feel Rome stretch into day. The stalls buzz, the sun rises, and you drift gently into rest. The Thermopolium, Rome's ancient street cafes. Have you ever wondered what it was like to step into a Roman Thermopolium, where clay jars sunk into a stone counter steamed with beans, stews and wine? Not the banquets of marble villas, but the small shops where most Romans ate their daily meals. Before you begin, pause, adjust your pillow, let your breath slow steady as ladles dipping into jars. If your eyes close before the stew is served, the bowls will wait for you. The counter at dawn. You walk through narrow streets, turning toward a corner where smoke rises faint. The counter is stone, its surface worn smooth by countless hands. Embedded in it are dolia, large clay jars, each filled with food simmering slowly. Steam drifts upward, carrying the scent of beans, lentils, onions and pork fat. The smell is sharp, earthy, thick. Behind the counter stands a vendor with sleeves rolled, ladle in hand. The myth of luxury taverns. Some imagine the Thermopolium as places of excess, with wine flowing and musicians playing. The myth is of grand taverns. The reality is simpler. Small shops for the working poor, quick meals, no kitchens at home. Archaeology in Pompeii uncovered dozens of such counters, their dolia still stained with stew. The myth comforts drama. The reality ladles beans. Fortunata's belief. Fortunata's belief. Fortunata's belief. Fortunata appears at the stall humming as she sets a coin on the counter. She insists that dropping a fig leaf into the jar brings luck. The vendor smiles wearily, indulging her, though no leaf floats. Marcus the rat catcher. Marcus lurks nearby, tapping his stick against the counter base. He mutters that rats live under the jars, feeding on drips of stew. He warns that one day a rat will climb right into the pot. The vendor groans, stirring louder to drown him out. Step by step ordering at the Thermopolium. You step forward with your coin, place it on the counter, edges worn smooth. The vendor nods, ladle dipping into the jar. He scoops thick stew, beans clinging, onions floating. He pours it into a clay bowl, steam rising. He hands it to you warm against your palms. The bowl is heavy, heat soaking your fingers. A mild dilemma. You find a seat on a low bench. A child stares at your bowl, eyes wide. You could share a spoonful, losing part of your meal, or you could look away, hunger too sharp. You tip the bowl slightly, letting him dip bread once. His grin is quiet but steady. The smell of the Thermopolium. The room fills with layers of scent. Stew bubbling, beans earthy, wine simmering with herbs, sweet and sour. Smoke from the brazier, acrid but steady. Oil sizzling as sausage spits on the pan. The air feels thick, clinging to your clothes. The myth of Roman wine shops. Some later images show wine shops with fountains of drink. The myth is of endless cups. The reality is plainer. Wine always watered, often flavored with herbs or honey. Clay amphorae still show residue of diluted mixtures. The myth comforts the reality fills cups modestly, step by step drinking at the counter. Another customer orders wine. The vendor tilts amphora carefully,
red liquid flowing. He pours into a jug, then adds water from a bucket. He drops a sprig of thyme, floating faintly. He swirls with a stick, aroma rising. He serves in a clay cup, rim-chipped but clean. The man drinks slowly, savoring more herb than wine. Fortunata's ritual. Fortunata dips her fig into her cup, declaring sweetness attracts fortune. She hums, eyes closed, savoring both wine and charm. Marcus's complaint. Marcus mutters that rats drown in amphorae, more often than men drink from them. He swears whiskers float in every vat. The vendor shakes his head, ignoring him, though others chuckle faintly. Rules of the thermopolium. Every customer follows unspoken codes. Coins placed on the counter, never the floor. Bowls returned when empty, never carried away. Wine always diluted, never argued. Bread dipped, never wasted. Fortunata trusts figs. Marcus distrusts jars. The rules keep rhythm steady as ladles. A mild dilemma. Your bowl empties quickly, stew gone. You have 1 coin left. You could spend it on another bowl stomach full, or save it for evening bread. You place it back in your pouch, hunger dulled but not gone. The sound of the shop. The thermopolium buzzes softly. Ladles clink against dolia. Coins clatter on stone. Dogs bark outside, waiting for scraps. Voices murmur, steady but low. The shop hums like the city itself. The myth of banquets forgotten. Writers like Juvenal mocked excess, describing dishes too rare for the poor. The myth is of equality at feasts. The reality, most Romans ate here, not in villas. Pompeii's ruins show thermopolia at nearly every corner. The myth comforts literature. The reality stirs beans. Toward afternoon, as the sun climbs, the shop grows hotter. Brazier glows, smoke rises, stew thickens, bowls scrape empty. Customers drift away, bellies warmed, coins lighter. You step outside, the smell clinging, the noise fading. The soft cadence, the ladle dips, the stew thickens, the wine waters, and you, walking slowly, feel Rome hum with meals. The smoke curls, the voices fade, and you drift gently into fish stalls and the smell of garum. Have you ever wondered what it was like to walk through a Roman fish market, where the air itself seemed to swim before you? Not the calm silence of marble statues, but the wet slap of fish on stone counters, the briny stench rising thick, and the sharp tang of garum, drifting from jars. Before you begin, pause, breathe gently though not too deeply, exhale slowly, as if letting go of salt carried on wind. If you are lying in bed, imagine yourself moving through crowded stalls, clay jars stacked, and fish scales glittering in the sun. This chapter will move as steadily as tides against a shore, and if you drift away before the sauce is poured, it will still wait in its jar. The market at midday. You enter the market near the Tiber. The stone floor is wet, slick with water poured over fish. Vendors shout prices, voices hoarse. The air is heavy, salt, brine, smoke and the faint rot of yesterday's tables are covered in fish, some silver and fresh, others already dull. Scales glisten like coins, fins twitch faintly. Children dart between stalls, chasing each other with tails as toys. The myth of garum's delight. Later writers sometimes describe garum as Rome's greatest delicacy. The myth is of universal delight. The reality is more divided. Many loved it, many hated its pungent smell. Historians note amphorae of garum were exported across the empire, yet jokes survive of its overpowering stench. The myth comforts pride. The reality wrinkles noses.
Fortunata's cure. Fortunata stands near a stall, dipping bread into a small cup of garum. She declares it cures coughs, fevers, even misfortune. She presses a dripping piece into a child's hand, insisting the sauce heals more than wounds. The child eats, grimacing, but chews obediently. Marcus the rat catcher's complaint. Marcus scowls, tapping his stick against a barrel. He mutters that rats swim in garum vats, tails stirring faster than ladles. He claims whiskers twitch before amphorae are sealed. The vendor groans, but others glance nervously. Step by step, buying fish. You watch a man purchase fish, dished off signs, that she points to one lying on the counter. Scales still bright. The vendor lifts it, slaps it once to show firmness. That he guts it quickly. Knife scraping, smell sharp. He wraps it in vine leaves, juice dripping. He hands it over, coin clinking on wood. The man walks away, dripping bundle swinging. A mild dilemma. You see 2 baskets, one of fresh fish, one of cheaper stale. You could spend more for freshness, or save coin, risking smell and taste. You choose the fresher one, stomach grateful, pouch lighter. The smell of garum. Jars line the stall, sealed with wax. The vendor lifts one lid. The air bursts sharp. Fermented fish, salt, herbs, vinegar. It is strong, almost burning. Your eyes water, though others inhale deeply, savoring. The myth of garum for all. Some imagine garum as cheap, poured over every meal. The myth is of abundance. The reality is varied. High-quality garum was expensive. Cheaper versions sold in crowded stalls. Archaeology at Pompeii shows amphorae marked with different grades. The myth comforts exaggeration. The reality trickles slowly, step by step, mixing garum with bread. A woman demonstrates. Tear bread into small pieces, crust hard. Pour a thin line of garum, dripping slow. Add herbs, coriander, fennel, parsley. Stir with fingers. Sauce soaking crumb. Eat. Salt burning tongue. Flavor sharp. The bread is no longer plain. It is overwhelming. Fortunetta's blessing. Fortunetta insists garum brings fortune when mixed with figs. She dips one, chewing slowly, humming as if in prayer. Others watch in mild amusement, though none follow her. Marcus's warning. Marcus mutters that rats drown in the sauce. Bellies swollen. He swears one could find tails among the herbs. He taps his stick hard, echoing like a drumbeat of suspicion. Rules of the fish market. The stalls follow their own codes. Fresh fish first. Stale discounted. Garum jars sealed. Opened only with coin. Bread dipped carefully. Never spilled. Fish guts swept to gutter. Carried to river. Fortunetta trusts figs. Marcus distrusts barrels. The rules are steady as tides. The mild dilemma. A beggar asks for your fish scrap. You could give him the tail, nothing more, or keep it, adding to your stew later. You hand him the tail. His thanks is silent but sharp. The sound of the market. The air fills with clamor. Knives scrape against stone. Vendors shout prices. Children laugh, tossing pits and scales. Dogs bark, chasing scraps. The sound hums like a restless tide. The myth of pure delight. Some later remembered Rome as feasting happily on garum. The myth is of unbroken pleasure. The reality is divided. Some adored, some gagged. Records include both praise and complaint. The myth comforts nostalgia. The reality ferments in jar. Toward evening, as the sun lowers, the smell grows thicker. Flies gather, wings buzzing. Vendors sweep scraps into baskets, dumping them into gutters. Garum jars sealed again, wax dripping faint. The market exhales salt, louder than prayers. The soft cadence, the scales glisten, the jars sweat, the brine drips. And you, chewing slowly, feel Rome's tide settle. The knives scrape, the voices fade, and you drift gently into rest. Meat on the move. Have you ever wondered what it was like to smell roasted meat drifting down a Roman alley? Not feasts of silver platters, but skewers held in greasy hands, smoke curling from clay braziers, fat sizzling on hot coals. Before you begin, pause, breathe gently, as though inhaling smoke carried on a breeze. Exhale slowly, letting your body sink like a bench under weary customers. If you are resting, imagine firelight flickering across stone walls. This chapter will move as lazily as fat dripping on coals, and if you drift away before the skewer is turned, the meat will still roast. The smoke at midday. You follow the scent before you see the stall. A brazier glows, clay sides blackened, skewers of sausage spit faintly, grease hissing. Vendors shout prices, fans wave smoke toward passers-by. The air smells heavy, meat charred, fat sharp, garlic pungent. Children hover, noses twitching, hands empty. The myth of meat for all. Later tales describe Rome as a city of meat-filled feasts. The myth is of plenty. The reality is thinner. Meat was rare for most, eaten in scraps, stews or sausages stuffed with fat. Writers like Juvenal mocked sausages as poor man's food. The myth comforts stomachs. The reality sells smoke. Fortunetta's charm. Fortunetta stands at the stall, holding a skewer like a charm. She declares sausage coils protect against hunger and misfortune. She hums as she bites, juice dripping down her hand. Marcus the rat catcher. Marcus scowls at the brazier. He mutters that rats snatch meat faster than boys. He taps his stick, pointing at shadows near the gutter. Vendors groan, but pull skewers higher just in case. Step by step, grilling sausage. You watch the vendor tend the brazier, place coils of sausage on a flat grill, turn slowly, grease dripping onto coals, fan smoke upward, garlic and herbs burning. A skewer pieces, juices hissing. The sound of fat striking coals is steady as rain. A mild dilemma. The vendor offers you two choices: a small sausage, cheaper but mostly fat, or a larger one, costly but fuller. You hesitate, then choose the smaller, hunger winning over caution. It burns your fingers, but warms your stomach. The smell of meat, The air grows thicker, garlic sharp, onion sweet, fat heavy, coating your tongue, bread toasted faintly, crust blackened, smoke clings to your cloak, stubborn and sharp. Rome smells of hunger made noise. The myth of dormice. Some recall Romans feasting daily on dormice. The myth is of delicacy. The reality, dormice were luxury, rarely seen by ordinary people. Most contented themselves with sausages, scraps and beans. The myth comforts imagination. The reality gnaws bread with sausage grease. Step by step, wrapping meat in bread. A customer shows his trick. Tear flatbread in half. Slide sausage off skewer, juice spilling. Wrap tightly, bread soaking fat. Bite carefully, edges crisp, inside soft. Chew slowly, grease coating lips. The bread makes grease into meal. Fortunetta's proclamation. Fortunetta insists sausage wrapped in bread seals good luck inside. She hums, crumbs on her lips, smile wide. She declares she will never eat it plain. Marcus's grumble. Marcus mutters that rats prefer the bread more than the meat. He claims vermin steal crusts, dragging them into shadows. His stick taps rhythm, steady and sour. Rules of the meat stall. Every vendor follows unspoken codes. Bread always offered with sausage. Skewers never left bare, always refilled. Smoke fanned toward crowd, never away. Fat drips belong to the dogs beneath. Fortunetta trusts coils. Marcus distrusts crumbs. The rules are grease thick, smoke bound. A mild dilemma. A stray dog nudges your leg, eyes wide. You could toss a scrap sharing, or keep it, hunger sharp. You break a piece tossing it down. Its wagging tail feels like thanks. The sound of the stall, noise rises with the smoke. Skewers clatter against grill. Bread tears with rough hands. Dogs bark, children laugh. Vendors The street hums louder than before. The myth of endless meat. Paintings sometimes show endless platters. The myth is of supply. The reality is ration. Scraps, offcuts, sausages. Records mention bones boiled twice. Fat stretched thin. The myth comforts eyes. The reality sells smoke. Toward evening, the brazier smolders, smoke curling slower. Skewers grow fewer. Bread crusts harden. Children chase scraps. Dogs lick grease from stones. Vendors count coins, muttering. You lick grease from your fingers, stomach steady. The soft cadence, the coals glow, the fat drips, the bread tears, and you chewing slowly, feel Rome settle in smoke. The skewers empty, the dogs curl, and you drift gently into rest. Sweet treats, honey cakes and dates. Have you ever wondered what counted as dessert in ancient Rome? Not sugared confections, not iced pastries, but honey dripping from combs, sticky cakes, and dried fruit stuffed with nuts. Sweetness came slowly, sparingly, clinging to fingers like fortune itself. Before you begin, pause, breathe gently, as though inhaling the warm scent of baking. Exhale slowly, as though letting go of sweetness melting on your tongue. If you are resting, imagine yourself beneath an awning, honey cakes glistening on a tray before you. This chapter will move as lazily as syrup dripping from a spoon. And if your eyes close before the cake cools, it will wait on the counter. The stall of sweets. You step into a shaded alley, where vendors sell honey cakes still warm from ovens. The air is heavy, sweet, thick, cloying. Bees circle near combs on display, wings humming. Children crowd forward, hands sticky, coins clutched tight. On one tray lie cakes browned at the edges, their centers soft. On another, dates stuffed with nuts, their skins split, shining. The myth of sugar. Some imagine Romans with sugar-laden tables. The myth is of endless sweet. The reality is simpler. No cane sugar in Rome, only honey, fruits, syrups. Archaeology reveals traces of honey in amphorae, dried figs, nuts charred in hearths. The myth comforts the sweet tooth. The reality clings in honey. Fortunetta's delight. Fortunetta's delight. Fortunetta beams at the cakes. She insists honey draws fortune, each drop a blessing. She hums as she buys one, breaking it carefully to share. Her hands glisten, her voice carries through the alley. Marcus the rat catcher. Marcus scowls at the trays. He mutters that rats smell sweetness faster than men. He taps his stick, warning crumbs will vanish before dusk. Children laugh, though vendors shift nervously. Step by step, baking honey cakes. A vendor shows how the cakes are made. Mix flour with water, kneading slowly. Dough rough, add crushed nuts, figs or cheese for filling. Shape into rounds, pressing thumb in center. Drizzle honey over top, thick and golden. Place in small clay oven, edges browning, scent rising. When they emerge they glisten, sticky and warm. A mild dilemma. The vendor offers you 2 cakes, one smaller, still warm, or a larger, already cooling. You could take warmth,
savoring softness, or choose size, filling stomach longer. You choose the smaller, savoring sweetness while it lies. The smell of the alley. The air swells with layered scents. Honey thick, syrupy, bread baking faintly, crust browning, dates earthy, rich, nuts roasting, smoke sweet. Every breath feels sticky, as though sweetness coats the lung. The myth of constant desserts. Later imagination pictures dessert after every Roman meal. The myth is of routine sweetness. The reality is occasional sweets, saved for festivals, markets, or small indulgence. Writers mention figs and nuts more often than cake. The myth comforts appetite. The reality waits at festival stalls, echoes step by step stuffing dates. Another vendor demonstrates, split dates carefully, skins glossy, insert almonds, pressing tightly, roll in honey, sticky sheen, serve in pairs, eaten slowly. The dates are rich, heavy, cloying after only a few. The Fortunetta's blessing. Fortunetta dips a date in honey, declaring it sweeter than fortune itself. She hums, lips shining, smiling at passers-by. Children laugh, repeating her Marcus's warning. Marcus points at the ants already circling the trays. He mutters that sweetness always rots first. He insists rats wait nearby, noses twitching. His stick thumps, steady as a drum. Rules of the sweets stall. Even here, quiet codes exist. Coins paid first, cakes touched second, dates always sold in pairs, honey drizzled, never poured. The children share first bite with siblings. Fortunetta trusts sweetness, Marcus distrusts crumb. The rules hum like bees above the trays. A mild dilemma. You hold your cake, but a boy stares, eyes wide. You could break a piece, sharing warmth, or keep it, hunger already tugging. You split it, honey sticking to your fingers, his smile quick and quiet. The sound of sweetness. The alley hums softly, bees buzz over combs, coins clink, trays scrape, children giggle, mouths full, vendors sing prices, voices slow sticky as syrup. The noise is gentle, not sharp, sweetness softens sound. The myth of honey as common. Some later thought honey was cheap, everywhere. The myth is of abundance. The reality, honey was precious, costly, often stretched with fruit syrups. Records note beekeeping as valued trade. The myth comforts plenty. The reality measures every drop. Toward evening, as the sun lowers, trays empty, honey hardens on counters, bees drift slower, children lick sticky fingers, coins gone, vendors sweep crumbs, Marcus tapping nearby. Fortunetta hums, sweetness lingering in her smile. The soft cadence, the cakes cool, the dates glisten, the honey drips, and you, licking fingers, feel Rome soften into night. The bees hum, the trays empty, and you drift gently into rest. Wine shops, and watered cups. Have you ever wondered what it was like to sip wine in ancient Rome? Not from a golden goblet, but from a chipped clay cup in a smoky shop. The city's drink was not strong liquor, not untouched grape juice, but wine always thinned with water, flavored with herbs, honey or spices. Before you begin, pause, let your shoulders sink, heavy as amphorae lined against a wall. Breathe gently, as though inhaling the faint scent of herbs in wine. Exhale slowly, steady as liquid poured from jug to cup. This chapter will move as calmly as diluted drink, sliding across the tongue, and if you drift away before the last sip, the cup will still wait on the counter. Entering the popina. The popina is dim, lit by oil lamps. Smoke curls in corners, walls stained with soot. A counter stands at the front, amphorae leaning against it, corks sealed with wax. Benches line the room, worn smooth by countless visitors. The air smells of wine, herbs, sweat and bread dipped in oil. Coins clink faintly, laughter low. The myth of strong wine. Some imagine Romans drank undiluted wine in strength and bravado. The myth is of constant drunkenness. The reality, wine was always watered, often 2 or 3 parts water to 1 of wine. Drinking it pure was seen as barbaric, uncivilized. Writers mocked those who refused to dilute. The myth comforts drama. The reality swirls thick. Fortunetta's toast. Fortunetta sits with her cup, dropping a fig inside. She declares figs sweeten fortune, even in sour wine. She hums softly, lifting the cup, sipping slowly. Her lips shine, her smile unshaken. Marcus the rat catcher's warning. Marcus sits near the amphorae, tapping his stick. He mutters that rats gnaw corks, slipping whiskers into wine before it's poured. He insists tails swish in the vats unseen. The vendor sighs, ignoring him, but some customers glance uneasily. Step by step, mixing a morning cup. The vendor prepares a drink for a customer. Tilt amphora, letting wine flow into a jug. Add water from a bucket, splashing softly. Drop in herbs, thyme, rosemary, mint, Swirl with a stick, aroma rising. Pour into clay cup, rim chipped but steady. The customer drinks slowly, sighing. A mild dilemma. The vendor offers you a choice. A weaker mix, cheaper, or a stronger one. Costly but fuller. You hesitate, then choose the weaker, stretching coin further. It tastes faint, but soothes your throat. The smell of the shop. The air swells with layers. Wine sharp, sour sweet. Herbs crushed, fresh. Oil burning in lamps. Smoky. Bread dipped in cups. Warm and yeasty. The smell is heavy, lingering in cloth. The myth of endless luxury. Paintings sometimes show wine shops full of feasting. The myth is of banquets. The reality is humbler. Laborers drinking quietly. Vendors pouring slowly. Cups chipped. Graffiti from Pompeii shows jokes about sour wine, not praise. The myth comforts eyes. The reality waters every cup. Step by step, drinking with bread. Another man demonstrates. Tear crust from bread, rough and dry. Dip quickly into cup, soaking edge. Lift to mouth, chewing wine-soaked crumb. Swallow slowly, throat warm. Repeat, until cup and loaf are gone. The bread turns drink into meal.
Fortunata's fortune. Fortunata laughs, dipping her fig once more. She insists the fig makes the drink sweet enough for emperors. She hums louder, tune soft as a lullaby. Marcus's complaint. Marcus scowls, pointing at shadows near the floor. He mutters that rats lick spilled wine before customers sip. He taps his stick, steady rhythm echoing like another song. Rules of the Pupina. Every shop follows unspoken codes. Cups always returned, never kept. Wine diluted, never pure. Bread dipped, not wasted. Coins counted carefully on counter. Fortunata trusts figs. Marcus distrusts corks. The rules hold the room as steady as lamps. A mild dilemma. A beggar at the door asks for a sip. You could pass your cup, losing part of your drink, or ignore him, keeping coins worth for yourself. You tip the cup, letting him drink once. His nod is silent, gratitude quick. The sound of the shop. The room hums with soft noise. Coins clink. Cups tap. Benches creak. Voices murmur. Laughter faint. Outside, donkeys bray. Wheels roll past. The sound is low, never sharp, as though dulled by watered wine. The myth of constant feasts. Later imagination tied Pupina to feasting. The myth is of revelry. The reality is routine. Cups, bread, olives, murmurs. Records show most customers poor, hungry, thirsty, never lavish. The myth comforts nostalgia. The reality fills cups modestly. Toward evening, as night lowers, lamps flicker dim. The room grows smoky, cups empty, amphorae lean, wax dripping faint. Fortunata hums. Marcus mutters. Customers drift away. The Pupina exhales, heavy with diluted laughter. The soft cadence. The cup clinks. The lamp smokes. The fig sinks. And you, drinking slowly, feel Rome sigh into night. The benches creak. The voices fade. And you drift gently into rest. Food for festivals. Have you ever wondered what festivals tasted like in ancient Rome? Not only the games in the circus or processions through marble streets, but the food sold at every corner. Nuts roasted, wine spiced, bread sweetened and meat grilled over open flame. Before you begin, pause, breathe gently, as though inhaling smoke from a brazier. Exhale slowly, as though releasing the hum of a crowd. If you are lying in bed, imagine yourself among stalls glowing in torchlight, baskets piled high with food. This chapter will move as softly as coals beneath roasting nut. And if you drift before the stalls close, they will wait for you in the square. The streets alive, the city feels louder than usual. Drums beat, flutes trill, voices cheer. Stalls line the streets, vendors calling prices, children tugging at sleeves. Smoke rises from braziers, coals glowing. The air is thick, nuts roasting, wine steaming, bread toasting. You weave through the crowd, stomach already stirring. The myth of endless festival feasts. Later tales describe Rome as drowning in festival food. The myth is of abundance for all. The reality is plainer. Some could afford feasts, others only scraps. Records suggest many simply enjoyed roasted nuts, cheap wine, bread dipped in oil. The myth comforts nostalgia. The reality chews slowly. Fortunata's crown. Fortunata appears with fig leaves woven into a wreath. She insists wearing it brings luck during Saturnalia. She hums, carrying a skewer of meat, smiling as if crowned queen of the street. Marcus the rat catchers mutter. Marcus scowls at overflowing basket. He mutters that rats enjoy festivals more than men, eating scraps left beneath benches. He taps his stick, warning that vermin never fast. Step by step, roasting nuts. A vendor tends his brazier. Pour chestnuts into iron pan. Shells cracked. Shake gently. Smoke rise. Add salt. Sizzling. Stir with wooden spoon. Shells blackening. Hand out in paper cones. Warm against palms. Children bite eagerly. Smoke clinging to their fingers. A mild dilemma. A girl offers to trade her cone of nuts for your coin. You could accept gaining warmth in your hands, or save coin for wine, hunger tugging longer. You accept. Chestnuts hot. Coin still yours. The smell of festivals. The air swells with scents. Chestnuts sweet. Shells charred. Wine steaming. Herbs floating. Bread toasting. Crust crisp. Meat grilling. Fat dripping. The street smells of warmth, spice and indulgence. The myth of free food. Some imagined festivals meant free feasts for all. The myth is of gifts. The reality, while games sometimes offered handouts, most food was sold at stall. Archaeology shows countless thermopolia near amphitheaters. The myth comforts equality. The reality clinks coins. Step by step, mulled wine. At another stall, a vendor ladles steaming drink. Pour watered wine into bronze pot. Drop in cloves, cinnamon, bay leaves. Heat gently, steam curling. Ladle into clay cups, scent rich. Customers sip, warming hands on cups. Fortunata's toast. Fortunata dips her fig wreath into her cup, humming that figs sweeten even smoke. She lifts the cup high, declaring fortune doubles at festivals. Marcus's complaint. Marcus mutters that rats prefer spilled wine, lapping faster than men sip. He scowls at puddles, forming near benches, tapping rhythm steady. Rules of festival eating. Crowds follow their own customs. Nuts eaten first. Shells dropped underfoot. Wine spiced, never plain. Bread sweetened with honey only during Saturnalia. Meat skewers shared in pairs. Fortunata trusts wreaths. Marcus distrusts puddle. The rules shape celebration as much as drums. A mild dilemma. A vendor offers you a skewer price high. You could spend your coin, belly full, or hold back, content with nuts. You decline, choosing patience, stomach rumbling softly. The sound of the festival. Noise swells around you. Drums thump, flutes trill, coins clink, children laugh, vendors shout, dogs bark, fire pops in braziers. The air hums with restless joy. The myth of excess. Writers joked of festival excess, men stuffed with goose, tables breaking. The myth is of gluttony. The reality is humbler. Cones of nuts, cups of mulled wine, scraps shared. Records confirm more noise than plenty. The myth comforts comedy. The reality roasts slowly. Toward night, torches flicker, smoke rising higher. Crowds thin, coins fewer, stalls closing. Fortunata hums, wreath slipping sideways. Marcus mutters, tapping his stick, watching scraps vanish to shadows. The city exhales, leaving nutshells scattered on stone. The soft cadence, the coals dim, the cups empty. The wreath slips, and you, warming hands, feel Rome sigh into dark. The drums fade, the smoke drifts, and you drift gently into rest. Hunger and shortages. Have you ever wondered what it was like when Rome's stalls stood empty? Not the feast days remembered in marble carvings, but mornings when no bread was left, when grain ships were delayed, and when families waited in long lines, clutching baskets and before you begin, pause, breathe slowly, as though exhaling hunger itself. Let your body sink, steady as sacks of grain on a dock. If your eyes close before the ration is handed out, the queue will still wait. The empty market. You step into the square. Stalls stand shuttered, braziers cold. The smell of bread is gone. Only smoke from last night lingers. Dogs sniff at gutters, finding nothing. Children sit quietly, chewing on scraps of yesterday's figs. The silence feels heavier than noise. The myth of abundant grain. Later accounts suggest Rome never starved, that grain flowed endlessly from Egypt. The myth is of unbroken supply. The reality, shipments delayed, storms sinking ships, shortages common. Records describe riots, rationing and anger at officials. The myth comforts empire. The reality waits in line. Fortunata's patience. Fortunata stands in line, shawl pulled tight, basket empty. She hums softly, claiming patience itself is fortune. She presses a fig stem into her pocket, calling it a charm until bread returns. Marcus the rat catcher's warning. Marcus scowls, tapping his stick against a barrel. He mutters that rats eat more grain than men, feasting in warehouses. He swears whiskers twitch before sacks are even opened. Neighbors sigh, but no one argues. Hunger sharpens silence. Step by step, queuing for grain. The line moves slowly. Hold basket, arms tired. Step forward as names are called. Place token on table.
wood worn smooth. Worker scoops grain from sack, dust rising. Pour into basket, heavy now carried home carefully. The process repeats, slow as breathing. A mild dilemma. Your ration feels lighter than expected. You could speak, risk angering the clerk, or remain silent, clutching what you have. You sigh, turning away, hunger steadier than the smell of shortage. The air is faint, almost empty. No garlic sizzling, no bread baking, only dust from sacks, dry and bitter, cloth damp with sweat, wool musty. The smell is not of food but of weight. The myth of free plenty. Some believe grain dole meant feasts for the poor. The myth is of generosity. The reality, the dole offered raw grain, not bread. Families still had to grind, bake or barter. Historians note quarrels at mills, long nights of labor. The myth comforts pride. The reality blisters hands, step by step grinding grain. At home a family prepares their ration, pour grain into small millstone, turn slowly, stone scraping, collect coarse flour, dust rising, mix with water, kneading rough dirt, bake on hot stone, edges hard, center heavy. The bread fills stomachs but little else. Fortunata's blessing. Fortunata dips her bread into oil, declaring even coarse loaves carry luck. She hums, chewing slowly, smile faint but unbroken. Marcus's complaint. Marcus shakes his head, muttering that rats gnaw sacks, leaving husks for men. He swears each crumb is smaller because vermin took the rest. His stick thumps, echoing through the silence. Rules of rationing. Even hunger follows rules. Tokens shown first, baskets after, grain scooped evenly, no more, no less. Complaints quieted quickly, bread shared thin, crumbs divided. Fortunata trusts patience. Marcus distrusts warehouse. The rules weigh as heavy as sacks. A mild dilemma. A child tugs at your sleeve, eyes wide. You could share a crust, stomach already hollow, or turn away, guarding your ration. You break the crust, handing it gently. His grin is thin but grateful. The sound of shortages. The street is quieter than festivals. Baskets scrape stone, clerks call names, voices dry, children whimper softly, dogs whine at closed stalls. The silence of hunger hums louder than drum. The myth of forgotten hunger. Later generations remembered Rome as a city of plenty. The myth is of full amphorae and abundant bread. The reality, hunger came often, whispered in letters, scratched in graffiti. Historians still debate how often riots broke the calm. The myth comforts marble. The reality waits in dust. Toward evening, the sun lowers, lines shrink, baskets carried home, fires lit in small hearths, smoke faint, bread coarse eaten quickly. Fortunata hums softly, Marcus mutters, dogs sniff. The city exhales hunger, slower than before. The soft cadence, the baskets scrape, the tokens clink, the bread hardens, and you, chewing slowly, feel Rome's sigh in want. The smoke fades, the voices hush, and you drift gently into night in the market. Have you ever wondered what Rome's markets felt like at night? Not in the noise of morning bread, not in the steam of midday stews, but in the quiet when shutters close, lamps flicker, and scraps remain for animals. Before you begin, breathe slowly, as though letting lamps dim around you. Exhale gently, steady as smoke curling from a dying brazier. If you are lying in bed, imagine yourself walking through empty stalls, oil lamps glowing faint, vendors sweeping crumbs. This chapter will move as slowly as ash cool, and if you fall asleep before the shutters close, the market will finish without you. The last customers. The square is thinner now, only a few linger, sipping watered wine, chewing crusts. Vendors sweep counters, voices tired, dogs sniff at gutters, tails wagging children yawn, holding hands, figs forgotten in baskets. The air is heavy, smoke fading, bread hardening, oil cooling. The myth of Roman nightlife. Some imagine Rome alive with endless feasts after dark. The myth is of glam. The reality, most markets shut early, vendors weary, streets quiet but for dogs and lamps. Records describe more shadows than celebrations. The myth comforts imagination. The reality locks shutters. She insists keeping one overnight brings fortune into the next day. She hums softly, weaving her tune into the stillness. Her smile glows faintly in lamplight. Marcus the rat catches claim. Marcus taps his stick, pointing at shadows beneath a counter. He mutters that rats rule the market after dark, scurrying in silence. He swears they wait for lamps to dim, whiskers twitching. The vendor sighs, brushing crumbs faster, step by step closing a stall. You watch one vendor finish for the night, scrape crumbs from counter into a basket, pour leftover wine back into amphora, wax lid pressed, bank brazier, coals glowing faint, stack bowls, rims chipped, pull wooden shutter closed, latch clicking, the stall becomes shadow, silent and still. A mild dilemma, the vendor sweeps crumbs toward the gutter, a stray dog noses closer. You could shoo it saving scraps, or let it eat, belly empty. You step aside, the dog crunching quietly, tail wagging, the smell of night, the air grows faint, almost tired, smoke thin no longer sharp, bread stale, hard edges, wine sour in dregs, oil lamps burning low, scent of lye and soot. Rome smells less of food, more of closing. The reality, lamps burned low, oil costly, most streets dim, graffiti complains of stumbling in dark alleys, the myth comforts marble, the reality blurs in shadow, step by step banking the fire. Another vendor tends coals, the reality blurs in shadow, step by step banking the fire. Another vendor tends coals, cover with ash, heat trapped, place lid over brazier, smoke curling, set beside wall, safe from rats, walk away leaving faint glow. The fire rests, like the city itself. Fortunata's hum. Fortunata leans against the wall, fig still in her hand. She hums gently, tune steady as footsteps fading. Her voice feels like comfort stitched into stone. Marcus is warning. Marcus taps his stick once more, declaring rats now inherit Rome. He mutters that men leave scraps, vermin collect fortune. He scowls, yet keeps watch as though it were duty. Rules of night markets, even at closing, customs hold. Coals banked, not left burning, crumbs swept into gutter, dogs eat first, cats second, lamps lowered one by one. Fortunata trusts figs, Marcus distrusts shadows. The rules guide silence, as much as day's bustle. A mild dilemma, you hold your last crust, you could eat it, belly light, or save it for morning, harder but still food. You slip it into your pouch, patience stronger than hunger. The sound of closing, noise thins, shutters creak, latches click, brazier lids scrape, dogs crunch scraps, children whisper, mothers hush. The market hum fades into silence, the myth of eternal feast. Later stories remember Rome as unending feast, even by night. The myth is of tables always full, the reality is crumbs swept, lamps dim, silence heavy. Records and ruins confirm more ash than banquets. The myth comforts memory, the reality drifts into dark. Toward midnight, the square lies empty, only lamps glow faint, shadows long. Dogs curl against walls, cats stalk slowly. Fortunata hums softer, Marcus mutters, both fading. The city exhales, tired, settling into night. The soft cadence, the shutters close, the lamps dim, the coals cool, and you resting, feel Rome sigh into sleep. The dogs curl, the voices hush, and you drift gently into rest.